Basic Man's Chokehold in Professional Wrestling. This is the OTOT pod, and this is our thoughts on Vince McMahon, the WWF, WWE, whatever you know it as, wrestling, our favorite wrestlers, what we remember from wrestling. It's just kind of a wrestling-centric episode because I like wrestling and I want to talk about it. And yeah, I'm Shikari.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Ali.
Yeah.
Hey everybody. Today we're talking about a lot of stuff, but mostly centering around wrestling. We're talking about Vince McMahon and how he's a psychopath and how wrestling is
He
crazy.
is a multi-billionaire psychopath.
Yeah, that's
9.1 billion. That's insane.
9.1 billion.
Sane person on earth.
Yeah, that's true. Anybody that can make 9.1 billion is quite sane.
Yeah, that's for true. Anyone who kisses their daughter on national television has to be a sane human being.
we all make mistakes.
Is that why he did it twice? Okay, but the first thing I want to talk about as far as wrestling, I want to talk about kind of the creation of the WWF. There's stuff before Vince McMahon with his dad, but no, that stuff doesn't really matter. The most important thing is whenever Vince McMahon took over, because that's when wrestling got good.
True.
But so basically, if you don't know, Vince McMahon bought the WWF from his father for $1 million, which was a super low valuation, even at the time. Super low. He basically got handed the company. So do not let anyone tell you that Vince McMahon bootstrapped him with his way up to owning.
He's self-made, obviously.
Yes, self-made, even though my dad basically just let me have it.
Nepotism? Never heard of it.
Never heard of that. Never heard of it. Vince McMahon worked his way up. So did Stephanie and Shane.
So true.
But yeah, he bought the WWF from his father, eventually changed the name to the World Wrestling Federation. And and that's when wrestling went crazy, because what Vince McMahon did, which was kind of revolution, he basically monopolized the wrestling industry, because before he took over, there was this kind of territories all over the country where specific companies would say in the South or Florida or wherever, they'd have their own loops and circuits that wrestlers would do, and after a few months they go somewhere else, and then they just end up circling their way back through all the way throughout the country. And Vince McMahon was like, fuck that, all your most popular wrestlers, hey, you guys should come work for me, because I'm really awesome and I'll pay you not that well, but more than they are. Which is the Vince McMahon special as we go farther into the WWE.
Well, you can't. How do you expect him to make money if he's giving it all away?
That's true. Exactly. And basically, him cannibalizing all of wrestling, it led to the creation of WrestleMania. It led to WCW kind of doing the same shit. And has it been a minute yet? Can I cuss now?
Oh yeah, it's been about 2.
Okay, yeah, Vince McMahon basically fucking killed all the wrestling and said, "Hey guys, it's just gonna be us." And then that's basically the creation of WWF. And I think I feel moving into no, actually, I think the first thing we should talk about is what are all of our connections to wrestling? Because I feel like I've been a pretty big wrestling fan my entire life. Do you guys still watch, or is it just kind of a thing you did as a kid, or is there still interest in it for you guys, or just kind of a thing I used to enjoy?
It definitely was, for me at least, something I did as a kid. Multiple years off, and then very recently, after talking with you a little bit more, I've kept up with it, but I haven't sat down and watched it. I see more highlights or stuff like that. This year I went to see Raw when it came to town. I really enjoyed that, and that did help a little bit more, push me towards the direction of trying to keep up with it more. But I don't know if I'll ever get back into watching it every week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch every week for sure. Watching every week in 2023 is fucking nuts. I think I'd hate wrestling if I watched every week. But yeah, Ollie, what's your deal with wrestling?
I definitely liked it a lot more when I was a kid. I think in middle school is when I fell off. Excuse me, when I fell off watching WWE, and I just never really wanted to pick it back up because it was like
once
a.
you find out it's not real.
I mean, I but like when there's just so much going on. It's like
True.
I don't know where to start again.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, because I feel like for me, because I kind of fell off in middle school too, and the thing that got me back into it was whenever I started watching Japanese wrestling. Because like this was like
Okay.
around middle school, and I was like, WWE sucks dick. I don't like Roman Reigns. You know, so I was just like, what's going on in other places? So I started watching that, and that's kind of what got me back into caring again. Like, I still watch a lot of like a lot of women's Japanese wrestling. That's probably like my favorite, like Stardom and TJPW and stuff like that. But, yeah, I think the only American wrestling promotion I still like, or at least really watch, is like AEW. But even then, I don't watch them weekly because like some of that shit be straight dookie. But
Sure.
but I like AEW more than like WWE. So okay, Ollie, what is kind of what's the impression you get of one Vince McMahon? Besides being a psychopath, obviously.
I thought he was just like some random actor who just wanted to be a wrestler, but wasn't like really into it. Because I didn't know that he was actually the CEO of the company, and he's just like throwing himself around in the ring and like pretty joke out of himself, and I'm just that just blew my mind. Like I found out a couple years ago that he was like actually the CEO, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
I am no pervert. But okay, Alex, what do you think? What's your like impression of Vince McMahon?
My Vince McMahon impression? No, just kidding. I'm
going to inject.
I don't know. He seems like a very interesting person. I don't know if he's like how much of it he's putting on for show. Obviously, I'm assuming a lot of it is for show, but I don't know how much of it is like actually his personality that he's like overplaying, or if it's like entirely an act. I hope it's entirely an act. I hope that man does not like that as soon as the cameras stop rolling.
I mean, from everything I've read about Vince McMahon, like his character like is at a 10, but him off camera is like a 9. So it's like it's like pretty close. Because like my impression of Vince is that like I think he's like insane. I think you have to be insane to like own a company where like guys are doing steroids and crack and like bullying guys.
Well, he's never told them to do steroids, so that's.
Oh yeah, according to Hulk Hogan, who is noted truth teller. Hulk Hogan, infamous teller of the truth. But yeah, I've always just kind of imagined Vince being like crazy, and like I think it's because I associate him with like murders. Like I feel like Vince McMahon is at fault for like the deaths of multiple people. Like if you know about Owen Hart, do anyone here know about Owen Hart at all?
I do not.
Owen Hart was Bret Hart's brother, and like there was I think it was No Mercy, like 1990 something, and he was playing a character called the Blue Blazer, and like he had like he used to come down from like the rafters, but like I guess something went wrong and the shit snapped. He fell and he died. And Vince McMahon was just like, keep going. We're gonna keep the show going. They didn't stop the show. They kept going. Even Stone Cold was like, maybe we should take this one off.
Why do you say it like that? Why do you say even Stone Cold? Do you think Stone Cold's also he has no bounds?
Dude, I think all those guys are. I think Hulk Hogan's crazy. Shawn Michaels is crazy. All those guys are nuts. There's no way you can be a successful wrestler without being like an insane person. I think John Cena's crazy too.
Oh, probably.
Like they're all insane.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the first thing I want to talk about specifically Vince McMahon, and we kind of already referenced this, but the steroid trial from like '93, where Vince McMahon was charged by the U.S. not charged, but went to trial for giving steroids to his wrestlers and recommending that they use them. So there was one wrestler, Nails, with a Z, who was like, Vince McMahon told me that I need to get bigger and I need to do steroids, right? And so, like 11 other wrestlers, including infamously Hulk Hogan, was like, listen, I'm not saying I've ever done steroids. I know that Vince McMahon has never told me to do them, which, obviously, how could you not believe Hulk Hogan?
Of course.
And obviously, all lies, because if you know anything about wrestling in the 80s, everybody was on steroids. Like, just look at them. You're telling me Hulk Hogan was not on crazy steroids? That man is nuts. But that is probably, like, where I think Vince McMahon became who he is to, like, not just me, but the public, at least, where it's like, oh, he's, like, an evil capitalist who, like, puts people's lives at stake, you know? Who has, like, directly, at least in my opinion, has some hand in the deaths and derailment of multiple people's lives because of like just him being like a shitty boss and like only caring about making money. But everyone's always like, well, Stone Cold made a bunch of money. Stone Cold also has a broken fucking neck, so
True.
You know, yeah.
There are a lot of people that have stopped wrestling because they have serious injuries.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Edge, who just came back recently, he was gone for like 7 years because of his neck.
Yeah.
A lot of neck stuff going on. But
Kurt Angle.
Alex, Kurt Angle's a psycho. Kurt Angle, also noted psychopath. I think Kurt Angle would have broke his neck no matter what he did. If he would have gone to UFC or like whatever, he would have broke his neck regardless.
Working an office job and just messing around.
Yeah. Just messing up, play Minesweeper. What was that, Ollie?
I think he's getting a reality TV show.
He is? Oh my god, that's awesome.
Seen him pop up on like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
and I feel like
I think there's something. It's either a documentary or it's
it's
like
a documentary. It's a documentary, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
About the life of Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is also one of my favorite wrestlers ever because like he was insane. Like he like I know I'm saying John Cena's a psychopath, but Kurt Angle was legitimately wrestling off of like 300 milligrams of Vicodin. Like he was fucking insane.
Yeah.
But Alex, I know you have a lot of favorite Vince McMahon stuff that you want to talk about. Hit me with some of your favorite Vince McMahon moments.
Oh man, some of my favorite Vince McMahon moments. I don't know. That's a really tough question. You hit on a little bit with a lie detector test. That one's hilarious.
With Hulk Hogan, who was at the time Mr. Americana, is that what his name was?
I can't remember.
It was like Hulk Hogan in like an American flag mask interviewing Vince.
Oh,
are you a pervert?
I'm trying to see. Here we go.
God.
What else? My goodness, what else is there? I mean, it's hard to describe these videos without watching them, but
please. I mean, Vince McMahon saying the N-word to John Cena and Booker T, top 10 crazy Vince McMahon moment.
That's true. That is true.
It's stuff like made me think like this can't be the
this guy cannot own this $1 million company.
Exactly. You can't get away with this.
What's crazy is that like he was wearing a do-rag while saying that too. Like it was complete like
no, he wasn't.
Stereotype.
He wasn't wearing a do-rag. No.
Does the do-rag might come later then?
Maybe.
Do-rag Vince was crazy.
Maybe. I don't know.
Now, I can only imagine what was like the goal.
No idea. I don't know.
God. Like I have no clue what he was trying to accomplish with him tearing both his quads at WrestleMania is the funniest shit I ever saw.
That is hilarious.
Do you know what happened with his quads, Ollie?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. He came out to yell at John Cena and Batista because they messed up the ending of a match. And as he's getting in the ring, he just hits both his quads on the ring apron, explodes his shit, and he's like yelling at them from like a squatted position.
Oh, he's like
fully sat on the mat, like in the ring, and just yelling at him.
Oh my god!
There's a point where he tries to stand up and he can't.
He can't. No. He's like yelling.
Dude, he's like the fact that he was able to continue, that must have like been excruciating.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon like was probably like on 30 painkillers and was like, "God, I can't even feel this right now." But yeah, Vince McMahon has so many like crazy, fucked up moments that are like fucking insane, and just like even the stuff that hasn't been confirmed about him is like terrifying. There's like stuff that he like helped Jimmy Snuka cover up the murder of his wife. There's like so much crazy shit surrounding Vince McMahon that it's like you can't even get into it. That's why there's like 6,000 documentaries on how this guy is such a psychopath, you know, because he just like he's done so much shit and he's been in charge of like the WWF since like what? Since like the 80s probably? Yeah, since like the 80s. But yeah, Vince McMahon, sick freak, sick fuck, one might say. I think,
but an incredible businessman.
Is he though? Like
9.1 billion.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you have?
What color is your Bugatti?
That's right.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, I guess he is a good businessman. I mean, I guess he bought WCW, so good. I guess good for him, and ECW. So
I mean, yeah. There are so many like within the past couple years, so many more like wrestling outlets that have popped up, but they're all like trying to emulate the model that Vince McMahon has made. You know,
that is for sure true. Yeah, AEW, like even if like you're an adamant WWE like hater or whatever, AEW is definitely following a model that WWE has set like a precedent for or whatever. You know, I feel like you could attribute a little bit of that to WCW, but you know, WCW's been gone for so long that nobody really fucking cares about them anymore. Even though they should, because WCW was fucking awesome. They had fucking Sting and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ric Flair fucking breaking his legs.
What other what is it? What other like channels are there that are doing wrestling? Is it NXT? Is that still one?
Yeah, NXT is like their developmental brand for like newer wrestling. Honestly, like it's not even really a lot of the guys there. A lot of them have actually. I guess it used to be that way where like a lot of the guys there have been wrestling for like years, but now it's more like they like get athletes to come in now and they train them to be wrestlers. That's kind of what they're doing. That's what they did with Bianca Belair. She was like the black lady who main evented WrestleMania with Sasha Banks. If you know any of those two, but she was like a sprinter and like a weightlifter or some shit like that. And you know, just a lot of the wrestlers they're bringing in now are just like athletes converts, kind of like Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar was like an NCAA wrestler of the year, whatever thing.
Right. He played football for a little bit.
Yeah, he played. That's so funny because according to WWE, well, if you ask WWE in 2004 if Brock Lesnar was good at football, they tell you that he's a bitch and he sucks. But if you ask them now, Brock Lesnar was really good at football. So Brock Lesnar was number 69 on the Vikings. So Brock, yeah, but they're trying to do a lot of that now where it's like they're trying to do what they do with Brock Lesnar, where it's like big athlete now wrestler, similar to Kurt Angle too, because he was an Olympian before he went to WWE. So.
Well, he was an Olympic wrestler, which I guess is nothing alike, but in name.
Yeah, but you know, so like they're just an athlete in general.
Sure.
I know Gable Stevenson was a guy that like he's like an NCAA wrestler dude too, but he like sucks. So it was also accused of rape. So who knows? But who knows? But yeah, I think with AEW though, like there's different types. Like AEW is more like guys who like I don't know, like they're smaller generally, but
Hmm.
they're just guys who like usually are probably like they're really good wrestlers, but they probably just wouldn't be successful in WWE because they lack size that typically associated with WWE's most successful wrestlers. Like Roman Reigns is like 6'3", 260,
Yeah.
made of muscle. So
Right. Right. Hulk
but
Hogan
yeah,
was insane. Hulk Hogan was like 6'5", like,
oh
or
for
was
sure,
he? What is he? 6'7", something like that, and like
yeah, he was super tall.
super tall and like 300 pounds, something like that. Like
Yeah,
insane.
Kane was like 6'9", nearly 200 some pounds too. Like especially in the '90s, especially because all of them were on steroids. All those guys were like crazy huge. Like they were just fucking huge. The only guy who wasn't like crazy huge was Mankind, and that's because he was just like doing death matches and jumping off of cages.
Hulk Hogan was
So
6'7", 305 pounds.
holy shit, how tall was the Undertaker? Isn't the Undertaker like 6'9" or some shit, or 6'10"?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, he's super tall too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 6'10".
Holy fuck, dude. The Undertaker. Were you guys ever scared of the Undertaker? Like, did you ever buy into it, or were you just like, fuck
I
Undertaker?
scared of the Undertaker, but I was like terrified of Kane.
Oh, me too.
And,
Remember those little guys? It was him and like Sheamus. Had-
Kane was nuts.
they all had like a mini me, and
Oh.
Ooh, 7 foot, 323 pounds.
Holy shit. He's a politician now. He
Yeah,
like,
he's a mayor of
Oh.
Knox County.
yeah. He tweeted like some stupid shit about COVID, and then this other wrestler, Hangman Adam Page, was like, most brutal Kane chair shots. But yeah, I think talking about like these wrestlers, did you guys like have favorite wrestlers? Because I know my favorite wrestlers, but did you guys like have any? Or
Oh,
have
for
any
sure.
now?
My favorite was Jeff Hardy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy was great, specifically when he was part of the tag team with him and Matt, his brother.
Yeah.
But on his own, he was still good, but not as good as when they were
Yeah.
together.
Did you like him more or less when he? Did you like him more when he was on drugs or when he was off of drugs?
Oh, definitely when he was on drugs.
Every wrestler is 10 times better when they're on drugs.
Oh,
That's a
for
fact.
For sure. You have to be
Oh
on
my
drugs to
God.
pull off the swanton bombs that he did, you know?
Yeah, he was like jumping off of like 20-foot ladders or some
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
Ollie, did you have any favorite wrestlers growing up?
I know me and my sister, we really loved Rey Mysterio,
Yes.
but I didn't watch until I didn't see him get like demasked.
Okay.
Oh, well, I mean, that was in WCW. You weren't. I don't think you were born then.
Are you thinking
Wait,
of Sin Cara, who was like Rey Mysterio's like competitor within like the Lucha Libre
Yeah.
category, who was demasked
Yeah.
when we were like 8 or something?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Did Sin Cara do like the trip? Like he would do like the front flip into the ring? Is that who you're thinking about?
Yeah.
That was Sin Cara.
But Rey Mysterio did the 619. That was crazy.
That's true. That's true. Do you want to know a funny story about Sin Cara? So Sin Cara, like mid-match, so Sin Cara was noted for being like difficult to work with and just like kind of like a narcissist or whatever. So like one match, he like broke his finger or whatever. He was like, "Stop, doctor, come here, come here, come here." And then I think they fucking fired him. Oh my god, they fucking fired him, and then they were just like, "Yeah, Sin Cara's a piece of shit." And then they got another guy to become Sin Cara. That was the most
Nothing
fucked
wrong
up
with
shit,
that,
bro.
Vince McMahon.
Nothing wrong with that, bro.
Perfect business
You-
decision.
What was even more fucked is they had him move all the way from Mexico, so they were just like, "Get fucked, bro."
Yeah.
Oh man, I think for me, my favorite wrestler growing up, I loved Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin was my guy. He like, I feel like everybody has seen like the Shawn Michaels super kick where he's like jumping off the rope
Mhm.
and Shawn Michaels just like straight bops him on the chin. That shit changed my life. I was doing that to my cousins 24/7. But
Okay.
yeah, I grew up loving Shelton Benjamin. Chris Jericho was so funny. I loved him.
Sure.
He'd always be he just like call people bitches or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember now. I feel like I Kofi Kingston was another dude I always really
Sure.
liked. Like when he won the
What's he
WWE
wrestling as
Championship,
now? Is he still wrestling as Kofi Kingston?
he's still Kofi Kingston. He's been Kofi Kingston the entire time. He's just not Jamaican anymore.
Ah, right,
So
right, right.
What?
yeah, he was never Jamaican. He just was had a good accent, and they were like, "You're Jamaican," and then he just stopped one day.
What?
But yeah,
Tell me that.
he's
What do you mean? Don't tell you that. Would you prefer to tune in and then be like, oh my goodness, Kofi Kingston? Wait, what happened to his accent?
that's like actually legit how he like stopped being Jamaican. Triple H was like, he was talking, and Triple H was just like, "What happened to your accent?" And he was like, "Whoa."
You can't ask that.
You can't ask that. But yeah, Kofi Kingston winning WWE Championship might be like my favorite moment ever. I watched it live. Like he always been one of my favorites, and like he beat Daniel Bryan for it, and it was like I cried because it was like such a cool moment. Because there's only been like, as of now, there's only been like I think 5 black champions: The Rock, Booker T, Ron Simmons, Kofi Kingston, and Mark Henry. I think those are like the only guys who've been world champions who are black. So for me, that was like a big deal because I was like, holy shit! Like I don't think I've ever. I think besides Booker T, Kofi Kingston was like at least at the time because I saw Big E win too, but he was like the only black wrestler I've seen become world champ. So I was like, oh fuck, this is awesome, you know. So yeah, but shout out to Kofi Kingston and yeah, I'm trying to think of what other wrestlers I like. I feel like all the most popular.
Were there any
ones
wrestlers that you hated?
hated? Oh boy, I disliked so many wrestlers.
Okay.
I thought The Undertaker sucked. Once I found out The Undertaker, like, wasn't
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was thinking more
like
like
that.
I think the wrestlers that I hated were for like their personalities, which I guess means that
Oh,
they were doing a good job acting, but you just hated them
gotcha.
as like wrestlers, which is interesting, and I want to hear this.
Yeah, I thought The Undertaker sucked dick. Because he'd only show up like once a year. He'd only show up for WrestleMania. He wasn't there for like all the entire time, and he'd just show up and like win. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Did you cheer the one WrestleMania he lost?
No, because I don't like Brock Lesnar either.
Oh,
So
okay.
I very much have. I feel like my wrestling opinions are kind of strange, but like, I just was never a big fan. Like my favorite wrestlers are guys like Bryan Danielson, who are like I guess the smaller guys, but like it seems real. Like there's this one wrestler, Katsura Shibata, who I love. He had like he headbutted a guy so hard that like he had to go to the hospital afterwards because like his brain started internally bleeding, and he only came back like a year or so ago. But that's my type of shit. Like if you're not dying in this shit, man, fuck that. I'm not. Dude, if your
Okay.
brain is not
Audio
bleeding, exactly. If you're not
A.
exactly, if you're not putting your body on the line, then fuck that. That's why I don't fuck with the Miz.
The Miz was gonna be my answer for most hated wrestler, but for very different reasons. I just hated his personality.
Yeah. I hate the Miz because he's not gonna kill himself. Fuck that shit, man. Oh my god, Ollie, were there any? You have? Do you fuck with the Undertaker? Because I like. You seem to have strong reaction to me saying fuck the Undertaker.
I the Undertaker. He was one of my favorite. Every time he came on, I knew some shit was gonna happen. Make shit happen, and he did every time.
Every time the Undertaker showed up, you knew it was gonna be a tag team match. Oh my god, Teddy Long was fucked up, bro. He he only had 2 things: tag team match and you're wrestling the Undertaker. But yeah, do you have any wrestlers that you didn't like, Ollie? That you were like, fuck this guy?
Honestly, I didn't like The Rock.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
That
crazy
is
to say
crazy.
fuck the Undertaker.
Felt a little annoying at times. Um, Triple H. Triple H had like this team, right? Like 2 other guys. I hated those other 2 guys.
You're talking about DX or Evolution?
Yeah, I think it's DX.
DX was Shawn Michaels. Evolution was Batista, Ric Flair, and Randy Orton.
No, I thought Triple H had a team with him.
Yeah, he did. He had 2 teams. DX with Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg and X-Pac, and then China, and then he had Evolution, which was Ric Flair, Batista, and Shawn Michaels. Or, sorry, Randy Orton.
I think it was the other one.
DX?
Yeah, DX.
Okay. The crotch chops, suck it. Oh man, I kind of want to move into now. You guys said earlier that like you don't really watch week, and I don't watch weekly either. But is there anything like what would have to happen for you to start like kind of keeping up with it more? Not necessarily watching weekly because I don't watch weekly at all, but like just like I'd get you more invested in it.
It'd probably have to be the only thing on TV.
Okay. I can fuck with that.
Like, not even during the writers or the actors strike, I was like, oh, I guess I'll watch wrestling because that's still on. No, it's kind of like, oh, I have other things to watch that are more entertaining and more worth my time than watching this happen.
I'll definitely like watch some like highlights, I guess, every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's for me.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm slowly moving out of it. Like, it's like I said, AEW is kind of garbage sometimes. So like I'm moving out of it. And then in WWE, Roman Reigns has been champ for like 1,000-something days. So he's been champ for almost like 3 years now. So I just don't care anymore to see him be champion. So I haven't really been watching like that because it's just like he's a bad guy, but like he always cheats to win.
Story with him running shit for like 3 years.
I mean, because it's like the blood, because he's Samoan, so it's about like the whole like Samoan family, like him, the Usos, and like Solo Sikoa, which is like the Usos' younger brother. Like everyone thinks they're building up to like a Rock versus Roman match at WrestleMania, so I assume that's why they've been doing it for like the last 3 years, because The Rock has been like super busy or whatever. I think that's why The Rock showed up a few days ago or a few weeks ago, because he was like,
yeah,
well, the writer strike is happening, so I guess I can just go back.
Actor strike, I can't do anything.
Yeah, I might as well go back, revitalize my image.
I think it was, I don't think it was actor strike particularly. I just think it was his PR team said, hey, your last couple like things that you've done have been really bad. People are quite angry at The Rock. You got to go back and show them why they love you. And so he showed up. He did probably the
Go back and say if you smell what The Rock is cooking real quick.
That's right. Go back, give him a people's elbow.
Yeah, The Rock is like, I don't know. I don't think public opinion is turned on him, but like, he's just like, I don't know. I feel like increasingly he's just becoming like an awkward figure in the public, which I think is how it is with a lot of wrestlers or whatever. But like, The Rock just like always says like the wrong thing, which is like a skill.
I think the public opinion has turned on him. I think that Black Adam, like he did not handle Black Adam very well, and so I think that with that, and then whatever else was coming after it, I can't remember what was immediately after that, but that like did pretty bad too. Like some
Jungle Cruise.
No, Jungle Cruise was before that.
So many jungle movies. So.
Yeah. No, Jungle Cruise before it. I'm trying to think. Maybe it was the most recent season of like Young Rock that didn't do very well.
Yeah. I think it got canceled, right?
Yeah. And so like I think that his public opinion is like pretty much like pretty drained, especially after like the XFL being trash and the way he handled Black Adam was terrible.
Yeah, just him being like, him playing a Shazam villain and then being like, I don't want to talk to Shazam. It's crazy shit.
True. But also, like, as soon as the movie was performing terribly, he sent fake numbers to reporters in order to promote that, in order to, like, convince them that they were doing better than they were, in order to get
Oh
more
wow.
people to, like, yeah, like, $7 production, the production house itself sent out a memo to these, like, basically reporters saying, like, these are the amount of tickets we've sold, this is how much money we've made. And then someone else from $7 was like, hey, like, that's not right, like, those numbers that we gave you are false. And it was never confirmed that it was The Rock, but pretty much the person that came out and said it wasn't was like, he basically said The Rock sent those out himself. And it was like, it was like, wow, that's crazy.
Oh man, yeah. I feel like of all like WWE stars, like The Rock is, and we've kind of talked about this before, Alex. The
Mhm.
Rock is the one with kind of like, I don't know, the most fragile ego,
Sure.
and I think it just comes from like the only character ever being successful for him is like
Is The
The
Rock.
Rock. Like,
Right.
yeah, he's never had another like maybe Luke Hobbs, but that's just like The Rock at like a 10.
Yeah. That's The Rock
You
plus
know?
superpowers.
Exactly, so like he just like can only fall back on being like The
Yeah.
Rock. And I feel like anything that does work, he like beats it into the ground. Like he's making a Moana live action movie, and it's like,
Yeah.
why, dude? You don't need to do that. And I think that's what John Cena and Batista are doing so well as actors, where it's like they have variety and they seem to be okay with things like failing. And I think John Cena's talked about that a lot too, where it's like a lot of his early movies like fucking sucked, but he's like
A lot of
now
his
like
most recent movies suck.
what has he been in recently?
Fast 10.
Oh yeah,
He was in Barbie.
That's
He was
true.
in
He was in
Barbie,
Barbie. He's just had, like, they just put out a new trailer today for this new one with him and Allison Brie. It looks like the lowest budget, like, action movie ever made. He did
Interesting.
what was it? He did Vacation Friends, which got terrible reviews. Like, Vacation Friends 2 just came out, got terrible reviews. He seems to not be doing, like, he seems to be doing well when he's in, like, super high production stuff that's, like, clearly, like, not banking on him being him.
Yeah,
It's like, we just need someone to be in this role, like the
yeah.
Suicide Squad or Peacemaker, where it's like, it's
Like,
it's very much
yeah,
the writing is better, and it's not like, oh, his acting is what's selling the show.
yeah. For sure. But I think he can act. I think Peacemaker showed that like he has the capacity to
Sure.
be a good actor. Which I don't think Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I think outside of like the game plan and the Tooth Fairy has like ever showed he has the capacity to be more than just like The Rock or whatever.
I think he
Like
tried in Walking Tall.
that's true. I did like Walking Tall. Walking Tall was good, and The Rundown. I think The Rundown was another
Yeah,
example of
that's
him
true.
like trying to like expand. I don't know what happened. I think like those movies just like weren't as successful as they were supposed to be, and he was like, "Oh, if I play The Rock, maybe it'll work," and it did. San Andreas made like a shitload of money. So did
Yeah.
the Jumanji remake. So
Mhm.
it worked for him. But
Yeah.
I guess like he's looking for something more now.
Yeah. And I mean, even on, like, looking at, who'd you say, Dave Bautista, I think Dave Bautista also does not have really good acting ability. I think his acting ability shines through when it's written specifically for him, which I
Yeah.
think James Gunn is probably the best writer for like, former wrestlers, because of what he's
Yeah.
done with Peacemaker and what he's done with Drax. And you see Batista in, like, My Spy, or, like, what is it, Stuber? He did that as well.
Yeah.
Like
Stupid.
like, terrible movies.
Yeah, for sure.
What was the one where it's him and Sylvester Stallone and they're breaking out of prison? That one's god
Is it,
awful.
is it Lockdown?
Oh, maybe.
Or is it It maybe it's either Lockdown like Alcatraz or something like that.
It's not Alcatraz. It's like some generic, like, prison title.
Got you. I know what you're talking about though, yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think what other wrestler. I know CM Punk does a little bit of acting.
Mhm.
He was in The House, I think it was called, like a horror movie that wasn't half bad, if I remember correctly. He's in some show
Batista
called
was in a pretty
Healed.
good. Batista was in Knock at the Cabin by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah, I've not seen that yet, but I heard great things about it.
He doesn't have a large part. I haven't seen either, but from what I've been told, he doesn't have a super large part. You gonna talk about Blade Runner, Ali? I see you trying to talk. I love his part in Blade Runner. He does great. Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner was probably he had like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
It was probably his best part. He had in total probably 20 lines.
But it was like probably the best 5 minutes of Batista outside of wrestling.
Yeah, he gets very emotional. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And Knock at the Cabin, he also it felt weird seeing him because like you see him and then you just think like, oh, this is a wrestler, but he's trying to play this like super emotional character. It didn't come out that much in Knock at the Cabin. He just looked a little. He's too.
He's too big.
He's too big.
He's too bald.
He's wearing like a button-up and glasses that like did not fit his face. It just.
I mean, did you hear him say he wants to do rom-coms? He said he doesn't get cast in rom-coms because he's too big and he wants to do one.
Yeah.
I think it was Amy Schumer who was like, "I'll do one with you."
Well, that's gonna be the worst movie ever made.
I mean, Trainwreck was good. John Cena was in that.
I haven't seen Trainwreck.
I remember liking it, but I was like a kid when it came out.
John Cena. Oh, fantastic movie John Cena's in. Daddy's Home 2. I love Daddy's Home 2. It's so funny. It's the stupidest movie ever, but it's so funny.
Is that when Mark Wahlberg is like a stepfather?
Yeah.
Or Will Ferrell's a stepfather?
Yes, Will Ferrell is the stepfather, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember liking the first one. I don't remember too much of the second one.
Oh, fantastic.
What wrestler would you want to see go into acting?
That's a great question. I don't know.
The Undertaker.
The Undertaker? Yeah, I'd love to see The Undertaker go into acting.
Great as like a horror villain.
That's true. I think he could do it. He's like, if he wasn't old as shit now.
That's what he's been. He could play Michael Myers. Take the mask off.
That'd be a big Michael Myers.
Yeah,
the mask off
yeah.
and
a 6'10" Michael Myers? That's crazy.
6'10" Michael Myers.
It's just that much more terrifying.
Wrestlers I like to see, I don't fucking know, man. There's no like, I feel like right now there's no wrestlers where I'm like, yeah. I'd love to see you in a movie. But then again, I never said that about John Cena until he started doing movies. So, I mean, maybe like Randy Orton.
Also,
I know. Randy Orton would be a good villain too.
No, he's kind of old.
Oh,
yeah. I'd
love to see Randy Orton in an action movie similar to John Wick, but the only move he can do is the RKO. Just takes out rooms of people with RKO.
I like to see that with the Great Khali. He could only do like the chop thing. Do you guys remember when Great Khali like squished Rey Mysterio's head?
Yeah.
That shit was awesome. I was going insane seeing that. I was like, oh my god, kill him.
Seriously though, I think The Miz could probably do well as an actor.
I think so. I was bummed he didn't get Johnny Cage because
yes.
I really thought he was a shoo-in for that. But
yeah, so they went with Carl Urban, who's old as shit.
Yeah, weird choice because like I don't know. I really thought because I know he was doing a lot of promoting and like kind of like getting hype for himself to play it. So I was really surprised he didn't because he's like quintessential Johnny Cage. You know, like
pretty much.
Whether you want it, was that Ollie?
He even looks like Johnny Cage.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like he like. Whether you want to do like the aging star or like he's in the prime of his career, like he could have done it. So I'm really curious to see what made. I assume it's like maybe the connotation of him being a wrestler and not having experience, but he's been in like those like shitty like WWE movies, which I mean John Cena was in those too, and so was The Rock. So.
Yeah, but the whole thing of Mortal Kombat is like all they do is fight. So why wouldn't you get a
True.
professional like fighter to?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, he could have done his own stunts. He could have done.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think Carl Urban's gonna do all that great with the stunt work.
Oh, for sure. There's no way he's doing any of his stunts.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure the most stunts he's ever done in his career was Dread, and that was walking around pointing guns at people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really bummed for the Miz because it seemed like he wanted it a lot, so that sucks he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe like Sasha Banks was in Star Wars. I guess she did
True.
fine too.
Yeah, she did fine.
She didn't
have a huge part.
Yeah,
especially in the second or the third season of Mandalorian. I don't think she had a single line. She was just kind of there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know MJF is going to be in the Iron Claw movie, but that's another wrestling movie. So
who's going to be in that?
Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He wrestles for AEW. Yeah,
Okay.
but like, do you guys know about the Von Erichs? Because that's like shit's like super sad.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Von Erichs, Ollie?
No.
So, do you want to explain, Ollie or Alex, or
No, you can go ahead.
So basically, the Von Erichs was like this wrestling dynasty in like the 80s or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And so the first son, I think his name was David, he like died of like an overdose, or it's speculated that it was an overdose in Japan. The official reason is like something with his intestines. He died of an overdose in Japan or some shit like that. And then because I think there's like in total 5 sons, I think, 4 or 5.
Oh, I can't remember. That sounds right.
It's 4 or 5 sons. So after the older brother died, another one was like super sad. He killed himself. After that, another brother was like, "Fuck, my brother like is dead." He killed himself. And then there was another brother. He like had like some bone condition, and he was like, "Man, like I want to be a wrestler so bad," but like he just couldn't be because like he had like a medical condition that just like straight up stopped him. So he was like, "Fuck it." Like my other 3 brothers are dead. He killed himself. And then there's only one brother still alive, and the dad got like brain cancer in like the 90s, and so like just like whole family like just taken out, man. And there was a brother before that who died when he was like a kid. He like stepped on like a railroad or some shit and got electrocuted. So like just like fucked the Von Erichs. Just like they have some of them are still wrestling. I think like the grandsons are wrestling today, but they're like not nearly as popular as like their dads were. So but yeah, just like a super sad. It's the movie where Zac Efron has like the crazy jaw. If you've seen that
he's
trailer.
massive. Where Zac Efron is absolutely massive. I'm gonna find a picture. I'm gonna find a picture of Zac.
Oh, Jeremy Allen White's in it too.
Yes, he is. He's also massive, but
yeah, just insanely big. The thing is, Kerry Von Erich, who Zac Efron's playing, he wasn't even that big. He was like a regular dude.
All right, I'm gonna drop it in voice for you.
Just crazy huge.
Crazy huge.
just the most goober looking dude I ever saw. Oh man.
Talk about fitness in Hollywood. That's crazy. How much chicken and rice do you think you had to eat to get to like that, Ollie?
He's on the Hulk Hogan diet for sure. But that's pretty much all I had for the wrestling stuff. Unless you guys have any other wrestling kind of stuff you guys want to talk about.
No, I think that's about it. Is there anything that you're currently excited about in wrestling, or not really?
I'm currently excited about in wrestling. Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic, he's a bad guy, but he's like super good. He's actually like really fucking good. Like because like he showed up like he showed up during COVID, so like maybe like a year or 2 ago. Like how quickly he's gotten like really good is insane. Like he gets more boos than Roman Reigns. Like he shows up, like he can't like they're booing so loud he can't even talk. So like it's like actually like insane how good he's gotten.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear a mask, but he's really good. I like him. I like watching him a lot.
Doesn't he like?
He should wear a COVID mask.
Yeah, he hates his dad. Yeah, he's like, "Dad, you're a bitch. I wish Eddie Guerrero was my father." and that's like a call. Did you ever hear about the custody ladder match that Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio had?
Yes.
So that's kind of what it's like playing on or whatever. But anything else I'm really excited? Sting is having his last match soon. Like he's been wrestling since like the 80s.
Yeah.
He's like 60 something and he's like jumping off of ladders and shit. Like going through, he had a casket match like a couple months ago, and he like jumped on the casket, like just straight killed a guy. But I'm excited for his last match because it's probably going to be the craziest shit ever. And then what's one more thing I'm really excited about?
He should have his sphere.
He should have what? One more time.
He should have his last match in the Sphere.
Oh, the Vegas
that'd be
Sphere.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be dope, man. Last Sting, he like jumps from the center of the Sphere to the ground, kills somebody. This is not something I'm excited for, but Ric Flair wants to wrestle again. I don't know if you saw his lap.
Oh, man.
Dude, it was brutal. Like, because he's like, what? He has to be in his 70s by now.
Yeah.
He, like, his last match was so fucked. He, like, faked a heart attack. And he just looked awful. But he was like, I think I could go again. I think I could try this one more time. But yeah.
How do you think the WWE is going to change now that Vince McMahon no longer owns it? Because as of a couple weeks ago, they sold it to what is
Endeavor,
it called?
which is
yes,
now
Endeavor.
TKO.
Yes, which is the owner of the UFC.
From everything I've seen, like Triple H is pretty much in charge now from creatively.
Sure.
I think Vince McMahon is still in charge of like the money in like a money sense. I think Vince McMahon still gets final creative control, but he hasn't really like been using it since like he took. But so Triple H is pretty much the main guy in charge. I think it'll change in that wrestlers will be happier because when Vince McMahon was in charge, it just seemed like a lot of like guys basically having to fight for attention, like begging him to like listen, and him just being like whatever, or just like kind of like not like listening to them or what the fans want. And it very much seems like Triple H cares a lot more about the fans' perception of the product rather than just like how can we make as much money as possible. So I think Triple H, like if you like, you know, the only thing with Triple H is Triple H when he was champ, he liked being champ for forever. Like he'd be champ for like they're like from 2000 to 2005, he was pretty much like the only world champion besides like occasional time where like Goldberg will win it for like a month or two. So he likes really long reigns, kind of like the Roman Reigns shit, where he's been champ for like 3.5 years now. Gunther, who's the Intercontinental Champion, he's been champ for like I think like 400 days now, something like that. So he likes really long reigns, which is the only thing that I don't really like. But other than that, I think it'll be better for the wrestlers, for all the people, because they don't have to like. Because something Vince McMahon would do is he would like, because they would have like a script, they would like work on it throughout the week for the next week's show. Vince McMahon, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour before the show, he'd rip it up sometimes. He'd just be like, "We're not doing this, guys. Go out there, figure it out." You know, he just like call it on the fly, which really isn't good for the wrestlers because you know they're performers.
Yeah,
they like plan all this stuff, so like you can't just be
they
like
can get seriously injured.
Yeah, for sure. They can get seriously injured, and ultimately it just makes the show worse because it's like the wrestlers don't really have time to perfect what they're doing because it's just like 30 minutes notice, just like going out there on the fly basically. Which a lot of wrestlers improvisation is something wrestlers have to be good at, but they should still like in an ideal setting they should have time to prepare instead of just being like going out there. So, but yeah, I think it's going to change for the better ultimately. I think ultimately the landscape of wrestling is a lot better than it was pretty much in any other time period. Like some people may argue the quality of wrestling is worse. I disagree personally, but if we're talking about wrestler pay, wrestler health, like all better drastically. Like I feel like I have heard less about, you know, aside from CM Punk beating up people in the back, which is crazy. Did you hear about that, Ollie?
No.
Did you guys hear about that?
I have not heard about that.
So, okay. So, a year ago, CM Punk basically something happened, I guess, and he got mad at the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and I think some other guy. So he went back there. He was like, "Fuck you!" And then his dog bit Kenny Omega, and he punched one of the Young Bucks in the face. And then, like a couple months ago, there's this guy Jack Perry, who's Luke Perry's son. I guess Jack Perry wants to do some move with glass, and CM Punk was like, "That's stupid. Don't do that." And then on a pay-per-view, Jack Perry was like, "Oh, it's glass. Cry me a river." And then we went to the back. CM Punk, who had a match like 10 minutes later, put him in a chokehold, and Samoa Joe had to be like, "Stop, get off of him." And then he got fired. So that is what was happening with CM. But so outside of that, I think the wrestling culture is a lot better than it's been ever. Like, I don't hear about drugs as much, or like wrestlers feeling pressure to have to take steroids to be massive and to be successful. Like, it very much feels like you can be who you are as a wrestler now. Like, it's more accepting it's women's wrestling far better than it was, and maybe outside of 80s Japanese wrestling, but women's wrestling, at least in America, better than it's ever been. Yeah, just overall, wrestling's far healthier than it's ever been. So, yeah.
That's good.
Good. Yeah, that is good. All right. Is there anything else?
Fuck The Undertaker.
Okay.
Also, Kane is a bitch. Who else do I think is a bitch in wrestling? Hulk Hogan's a bitch. That's it. Fuck Hulk Hogan. Fuck The Undertaker. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Well. Okay. If that's it, then do you want to end the episode, Ricardo?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so that was our episode on wrestling and Vince McMahon and then WWF/E/WWF. Wrestling. What a thing. But that's it for me. I was your host, Dr. Chikari Khalil Gatson.
I'm Alex.
Yeah.
And it's Ollie.
Yeah. LA Knight does that? Yeah. And that is the OTOT podcast. That was our thoughts on wrestling and stuff. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye.